Hello, welcome back. I'm Miniature Mike, and this time around I'm going to do a little different video. It's going to be a quick one, just going over what I think are some of the, I don't know, most meme-worthy or silliest poses in the minis. So I don't think these are the worst poses. They're just ones that I think are just, they just make me chuckle when I see them, and they kind of give me a little bit of a laugh. I just think they look a little just funny. There's not too many. Most of the poses are honestly pretty average, some amazing, and I'll talk about some of those in another video. But let's just get started. So Han Solo from Alliance and Empire. Every time I see this character, it's just his squat he's doing just seems so I don't know, just so over the top, and just every time I see it, it's just so funny. I just think it's so silly. So it's just kind of like the squat, how much he's squatting. It almost looks like he's about to fall over backwards. So um, I definitely think it's pretty silly. So curious what your thoughts are on all of these. Please comment. Please let me know if there's other minis that you think that make you laugh because of how silly their sculpt is. But these are the ones that I chose. This one, so Luke Skywalker, Young Jedi. For me, every time I see this, I can't help but unsee. It looks like he's about to like he's like floating off the ground. It's like he's about to like either fall forward or he's just kind of like about to like ascend or something like that. Every time I see it, it's like he's on his tippy toes. I can't tell. I don't know if the mini actually is. I don't own this guy, but every time I see him, it's just I think he's gonna just like fall forward or just kind of start falling and ascending at the same time. It's just where he's like trying to be like a ghost or something. It's just such a strange kind of leaning forward pose, in my opinion. Just makes me laugh a little bit too. This is a classic, one of the old ones. So every time I see the original Ayla Secura, and sometimes people have some bent miniatures, so it makes it even worse. But it just looks like she's just trying to like do the, I don't know, just bend over backwards. Looks like she's trying to do, uh, yeah, no, she's kind of fall backwards, basically doing the limbo. That's what I was gonna say. And again, like I said, some people I've seen minis, people sell minis, some people own minis where she's just naturally bent over backwards more because some minis are bent that way, and so it just really looks like she's trying to do the limbo and fall back, and so and the facial expression, I just find it a little funny. So kind of silly. The Deveronian bounty hunter, it's just so silly. Like in some ways, it's kind of cool, but just kind of the way, the pose in which he's doing the back kick. When I see it, it's just kind of hard for me to take it seriously. So I find this guy kind of amusing. Captain Pananka, actually not Pananka. This is Typho. Um, Again, there's something about the way he's sticking his arm up and looking. It's just like he's trying to be dynamic, but it's just the pose in general is just so cheesy to me for some reason. It's so unnatural, and he's just that's the thing about some mini poses. Like some of them are very natural and some of them are very dynamic, and they can do them both really well. But this guy, it just looks really unnatural and really just a very cheesy looking pose, just kind of like sticking his his gun straight up and looking up. He's kind of doing this like strange, kind of like walking forward crawl, and his arm is kind of straight in the other direction. So I don't know. When I see this particular one, it just kind of makes me laugh. It's just probably one of the cheesiest poses in my opinion, but has its charm. This guy, I think the pose is fine. It's a well painted mini, but just because he has the eye patch, I always just think he looks like a pirate. Um, he kind of has that eye thing going on his left eye. So whenever I see it, I just think like, oh, it's the pirate Sith Lord. Don't know if you've ever thought that or if you've ever seen that. But the fact that he has one, it just kind of gives off that look to me as a pirate. This guy, so Jedi Exile. I think the pose is great, but it's the if you ever follow baseball at all, it's like it looks like he's swinging a baseball bat, and like he's just kind of doing the kind of the follow through on hitting a baseball. Um, and like there's a lot of lightsaber swinging poses, and they're all pretty solid. But every time I see this guy, I just think he just was at bat and he just hit a home run or something. Because it's just that exact follow through of hitting a bat, just kind of the same form of what baseball bats do. So a great figure. Really looks cool, but just kind of something about the way he's swinging looks like he's doing that follow through on a baseball swing. So not too funny, but it's just kind of amusing. This one, I think Shadow Val is hilarious. So in some ways, it's a cool pose because it's kind of doing some dynamic stuff. He's jumping. However, every time I look at his leg, the way his legs are situated, it just kills me. So they're both parallel, he's off the ground doing this like weird side kick. It's like it doesn't look like he's trying to kick for action's sake. He's just kind of doing this weird like almost like a gymnastics move in the air. And the thing I can't get around is it looks like his ACL is just like completely torn. So when I see the way he's just jumping in the air, like it's like his both his feet and his feet are like in parallel. They're like in the same direction too, but and yeah, you can kind of see it's just the way his leg is. It doesn't look right at all. I see that, and being a person who follows a lot of sports, it just I look at his leg and it just looks like it just screams, you know, like torn, just like his tore his knee up or something like that, or just some crazy I don't know, hyperextension or something funny to make that pose. So at first glance, it looks cool, but when I take a second to look at it, I just can't help but look because his knee just looks that just looks a little brutal right there. So yeah, definitely gets me to laugh. This one though, this guy's my favorite. So oftentimes these blue magnet guards are bent over backwards even more than what this particular picture took. And the thing I find just hilarious about this is, especially some of the ones that are really bent backwards, I always think it looks like he's slipping on like a banana peel or he's slipping on something. It looks like he's just walking and then he slipped and he's in that motion of kind of like throwing his arm up, his other arm's about to come up and he's just about to fall backwards. So for me, I think is the most memey um, Star Wars minis figure there is. I just every time I see him, I just think he's slipping on something and falling backwards, and I'm like, I can't do a very good job guarding if you're just gonna fall backwards like that. So maybe none of you think it's funny, but for me, ever since I've seen this character, it always gets a laugh out of me. I just think it just looks so silly, and I love it. So it's kind of my feeling on that one. I think it's great, especially when the mini's bent back even further on accident. Then he's clearly slipping on something. And then this guy right here, he's the last one. I don't think it's too funny, but every time I see him, the way his head is positioned on him, he's just kind of. I always think of him as like the Hunchback Hoth Trooper, because his head is just so far forward and his back's kind of coming up that he kind of just has this look to him where he's just like a complete hunchback. So yeah, I think he's silly, but overall, it's the funniest ones by far. For me, by far, is the blue Magna Guard. I just think he's just falling backwards, and it just kills me. The gray Magna Guard kind of has like that Tusken Raider pose in some ways, so it's another funny one. But also Shadow Vow it just kills me. If you look at his legs in their position carefully, it just looks like someone just like bent his knee sideways, um, and it's pretty great. So overall, I got the baseball bat, the pirate. Just such a cheesy pose on Typho. I just look at it and I'm like, oh boy, that's just over the top. Not too crazy, but just for some reason the way he's kicking is just I don't know. It makes me laugh. Looks like she's trying to do the limbo or about to do the limbo, falling forward, levitating something. I don't know. But he looks like he's just kind of kind of float right off his feet. It just looks almost like ghostly to me. And then that squat is just too much. So I don't know. Maybe yeah, I don't know. Maybe something's going on. But every time I see that one, it's just like perfect right angles. The way he's squatting, it's just so unnatural. But anyway, hope you enjoyed this quick video. Curious, please like, comment, and subscribe, of course. And I love to hear kind of what minis you think have silly poses or just like funny poses. Again, I don't think there's necessarily bad ones, but they're poses that make me chuckle every single time I see them. So, anyways, with that, I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.